Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all so much for joining us for today's session, which is on weight loss with diabetes. For that, we have with us Sugarfit health coach, Ms. Shayoshi. So she's been, going to be talking about weight loss and the root causes of, weight gain and how you can effectively lose weight and by focusing also on fat loss. So thank you so much, Shayoshi, for joining us today and sharing with us all of your knowledge. Right. And again, I just want to welcome all the participants. We'll also be having a small Q&A at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the comments and we will answer them for you. Right. Again, welcome to the session, Shayoshi. Shayoshi has over 10 plus years of experience, and she's been working. She has a lot of experience in the clinical setting. She's been working with hospitals, and now she's currently in Sugarfit, and she's a health coach, and she has many users who have reversed diabetes. So thank you so much, Shayoshi, for being here with us. I think over to you.
Thank you so much, Shifa, for the wonderful introduction. And I welcome all the users and also all of you in this session. So today I thought of discussing about a topic which we keep on stressing, like that is diabetes and weight loss. So now, when we talk about weight loss, we have so many pointers to discuss, right? But what happens is, do we understand the term weight loss in a proper way is a big challenge, or I should say is a big question mark. So I thought of taking this topic today. And so what I believe is, most of the common questions that I come across in my day-to-day practice is, ma'am, how will I be able to lose my weight? Or will I be able to reverse diabetes? Or why is it that I'm not being able to reduce my abdominal fat? So all these questions are very common. And nowadays, what happens is, when the people are not finding the right answers, so what they do is they just try something of their own, or maybe they start jumping from one diet to other. It's just a trial and error method that goes on. But let me tell you that a piece of paper with some food written will not help you to reverse diabetes. And this is the bitter truth, let me tell you, because we all know that diabetes is something which is dependent on different parameters. And when we talk about different parameters, it's not only the diet, or it's not only the exercise. Rather, it's a combination of diet, exercise, and different kind of lifestyle changes and behavioral changes that should be implemented in your day-to-day routine. So before knowing about it, I would just
Shayoshi, I believe you're on mute. Yes.
Is it fine now?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, was my previous conversation audible to everyone, or should I repeat? Shifa, can you confirm on the same whether I was on mute?
Yes, Shayoshi, you were on mute.
Okay. So I'll just start.
Now you're audible clearly.
Now I'm audible, right? Okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying. That diabetes is something which is not dependent on a single parameter, but there are certain factors that needs to be taken well care of. But before that, we should check.
So sorry to interrupt you, but could you just put it on slideshow, please?
Sorry, Shifa.
Put it on slideshow.
Yes, I will be sharing it.
All right.
Okay. So yes, here is a short presentation that I want to take a note on. So these are the parameters that we will be talking about. That is, first of all, I would like to highlight some points on what are the factors that needs to be considered when we are considering a weight loss. So, and these are the basic factors that we look upon. That is, number one is your BMI, that is the body mass index. The second is your waist circumference. And the third is the body composition analysis. Now, first, I'm going to talk about the BMI. Now, what we need to figure it out is, are we in the safe zone or not? So, this is the first thing we should find out. And as we are aware of the fact that, we are facing a tsunami of lifestyle diseases, such as not only the diabetes, but also the hypertension, obesity, cholesterol, and these all are owing to faulty lifestyle or faulty eating practices. Now, when we talk about the faulty lifestyle, we definitely include the parameters like, maybe too much intake of the processed food, the refined sugars, stress factor. When we talk about the physical activity, it's like less movement. So all these are the factors which definitely pushes us to the lifestyle parameters. And now the BMI is one of the major indicator, I should say, when we consider weight loss and whether an individual is in the right zone of health maintenance or not. So this is one of the health indicator which shows that how fit you are. Now, what happens is when we take a patient's recall, like first of all, in order to assess a patient's history, the basic vitals are very important. Like what is your present weight, your height, and BMI is nothing but the ratio of the weight and height. And it's very important, rather, I should say, for an individual to be in a good BMI range. And when we talk about the BMI range, I would just like to highlight the categories once so that even we be aware of the fact that whether we are in the zone of healthy range or not. So when we talk about the healthy range, it's like less than 18.5 is what we categorize as an underweight category. Now, anything between 18.6 to 22.9 is somewhat which is in the normal zone. And that is what we have to look forward to in keeping our BMI in between that range. Then only we can say that we belong to a normal BMI zone. 23 to 24.9 is somewhat that we categorize as an overweight, and anything which is more than 25 is certainly obese. The second important parameter that we will be talking about is the waist circumference. Now, when we talk about the waist circumference, this is also one of the important parameter that we do consider when we are talking about diabetes and weight loss. Because waist circumference that we measure, it's nothing but it gives us an idea about the central obesity. And let me tell you, this is the common culprit which is there. So the longer the size of your belt, the shorter it becomes our lifespan. So we already become actually predisposed more to lifestyle diseases if we find that your waistline in case of men, if it is more than 35 inches, approximately 90 centimeter, then definitely there is a risk. And in case of females, if it is more than 32 inches, approximately 80 centimeter, then there is a risk of diabetes itself. So we, the Indians, are always known as, the thin, fat people. Why this term? It is only because we appear to be slim from outside. But when we deep down, when we deep dive into our body structure, we definitely find that there are huge concentration of fat which is being accumulated either in your abdominal part, either in your thighs or buttocks, that mostly covers the subcutaneous part. Now, another important parameter, which is the most important parameter, is the body composition analysis, which we do not much focus into because I have not seen much in my practice. But this is also certainly one of the important parameter that you should be aware of. That what is your body made of? When we say that, okay, we weigh 80 kgs, say for example, that is only a number that we are seeing when we are standing on a weighing scale. But we need to understand that वो जो 80 kgs जो आपका है, on which parameters that 80 kg is adding on to. Is it more of your fat mass? Is it more of your muscle mass? What is the total amount of water present in your body? The bone density? Everything accounts to when we track your weight. That is the reason why in the very first statement, while starting the session, I said that it's the weight loss, more precisely the fat loss is what we want to target. We do not want to target the overall weight, wherefrom we can just cut down the weight from anywhere. So it's the fat that we need to target. And when I talk about the body composition analysis, this is nothing but nowadays, it is even available in different kind of high profile gyms, or the health sectors, where there is a machine. This process is called the bioelectrical impedance, where there is a small current or a small ray which passes through your body, and it determines that how much is the water content, how much is the bone density, the fat percentage, and the muscle mass itself. Now when I talk about the lean muscle mass, that is like normal in case of females, we round it up in between 22 to 30 percentage approximately, and in case of men, we look forward to 18 to 25%. Okay, so these are the basic factors which should be highlighted when we talk about weight loss, when we detect a person from the weight loss category. Now, coming to a very interesting question, which we are often versed with, like, what does the word diet mean to us? Now, I know the word diet has different kind of conceptions around. Some of them believe it, as a kind of a need which they have to do it. Some of them, it's a kind of an emotion. So different kind of emotions play different role when we hear about the word diet. So I do remember, whenever my patients come in and when I deliver them a diet plan, so when they look at the plan, they always see that and they always say that, ma'am, where is the word diet? I mean, where is diet here? Because we are not finding anything different. It's all that what we usually take in our day to day life. So what is different in here? So now, when they think about the word diet, I'm 100% sure people think about something which is extreme. Like either a diet means an extreme weight loss, or an extreme health loss, or an extreme metabolic rate loss, and most importantly, what I believe is loss of sanity. Trust me, it's nothing but a four-letter word. According to us, a diet should be always a representation of what we will be eating throughout the entire life. Definitely, irrespective of the fact that if anyone has any kind of medical conditions or any kind of lifestyle diseases, the diet needs to be customized in that way, because we always believe in customization and personalization, because nothing is general. The all the stuffs that we get from Google, or the kind of diets that we look forward to, it's not that if that diet suits me, it will also suit you the best, because everyone's body type is different, the body metabolism is different, we belong to different kind of work culture, the cuisine is different, likes, preferences, everything takes into account when we are giving them a diet plan. So it's customized, completely it's customized. So what, if I give you, like, say for example, if I give anyone a kind of, say a dudhika juice along with some kind of fruits, and I ask you to follow it for back to back 7 days, is it possible for anyone to follow those kind of diet? Never ever. So if the answer is no, I would request every one of you not to go with the word diet, rather practice the habit of healthy eating. And trust me, this is the base of any lifestyle disease that we talk about. So when we only focus on the diet part, we actually look forward to that whether you are taking the right nutrition in right combination. That is where we have to look forward to. So now I'm going to talk about a few of the interesting facts which I thought of discussing with everyone, because when it comes to weight loss and maybe the kind of hindrance that we are facing in order to reduce our weight, uh, definitely the question comes that, ma'am, I have tried everything. I follow a very good diet, I maintain my routine, I am I into exercise, a well planned exercise routine as well, but why is it that am I still not being able to lose weight? So I'll just share one of my personal experience. I think it's 4 to 5 years back when I was in my clinic. So what happened is, one of my patients, when she stepped in my chamber, so definitely the first thing that we ask to any individual is to get getting to know about a basic lifestyle, a basic recall of what her lifestyle is, or what kind of diet that she follows and everything. So when I was taking the recall, she said that, ma'am, I have tried everything, but still nothing is working for me. So gradually, when I was heading towards the conversation, I told her that, do you know something as trivial as sleep might also affect your weight gain? And it was like, a kind of, it was bit towards an anger mode, that she said that, ma'am, please stop giving me gyans on kya karna hai, kya nahi karna hai, because I have tried all the things, but still it is not working for me. I have also been introduced to many dietitians as well, but still I'm not getting any results. So then what I understood is that she is also doing the same mistake that every one of us do. Now, what is that mistake? It is nothing but, most of us have the problem that, you know, the problem that we face, we do not find it out. We think that that is only the problem. But let me tell you, that is just a symptom of that bigger problem, not the entire problem that we are facing. So I asked her a very simple question. So I told her that, say for example, you're having a headache, which is caused due to acidity. So what would you try to cure? Would you try to cure the headache, or you would try to cure the acidity? Now, this was the question that basically, brought some kind of interest, I believe. And then she said that, ma'am, do you mean that whatever efforts I have been putting so far, it's not in the right direction? So I said, yes, bingo. So that's the problem where it lies, that most of us believe that, we do not try to understand. We do not actually understand that if this is the problem, this is not the problem, but this is just a symptom. So, in the very similar way, I would love to say that obesity is not the entire problem. Obesity is not the entire problem. The different kind of diets and the different kind of practices, maybe the different kind of programs, that we try with the help of different kind of diets, it's just a short term goal, it's just a short term results, nothing which will give you a sustainability or a consistency. Now I would like to highlight on the different factors, behind a diet and an exercise that definitely affects when it comes to a weight loss. The first one that I would like to highlight is on the hormones. So basically, hormones play a very important role when we talk about the weight loss. Let me tell you, when we are hungry, it's basically the hormones that tell us that, yes, you are hungry right now. When we are almost full, it's the hormones that gives us the signal that, yes, you are full. When we are having a food, what needs to be done with that food? Does that food needs to be stored in your body as fat, or is it that the food has to be burned in the form, it has to be used as a fuel? What needs to be done with that food? Every decisions are being taken by your hormones. So I always say to my patients and my users that hormones can be your best friends, it can even be your worst enemies. Now, when I talk about the worst enemies, I definitely mean it's nothing but the hormonal imbalance which occurs. And this ultimately pushes us to different kind of lifestyle diseases. So definitely hormonal imbalance is something which plays a major role as an inhibition in your weight loss journey. The second thing is the invisible inflammation. Now, when we hear about the word inflammation, we always think that maybe, it might be any cut or a swollen tissue which is painful, isn't it? But there is a term called invisible inflammation. That means the internal inflammation which happens. And why does it happen? This happen because we are always into a kind of a routine where we are taking processed foods, where we are taking, the packaged foods, where we deal with a lot of stress, where, in our diet plan, we also include gluten, we also include lactose. So we never know that which exactly or what exactly is causing the inflammation. But these are the basic factors that causes the internal inflammation. So in that case, what is the remedy? The remedy is we need to be very careful with the choice of foods that we are having on a day-to-day basis. If something triggers in our mind that this is something that which is not suiting my gut health, like say for example for one who has a lactose intolerance or for one who has a gluten intolerance, definitely there are certain triggering symptoms that happens, and from that we need to figure it out that whether it is because of the lactose intolerance that you are having. If so, then definitely for a specific period of time we have to keep those foods completely separated from their routine. So this is how we have to figure it out. The next important thing is the nutritional
Shreyashi,
imbalance.
so sorry to
Yes.
interrupt you again, but I just wanted to check, are you like sharing your screen because we're unable to see anything?
Oh, so is it visible now?
No, not yet.
Uh, yes, Shifa, can you confirm?
Yes, yes, it is visible now.
Sorry, I'm very sorry. Okay. So I think I was discussing about the inflammation part. So yes, this is already
Yes.
being
Also,
done.
just again put it on slideshow, please.
Is it
Thank
is it better now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Shifa. Thank you for reminding. Yeah. So yes, we were discussing about. I think I've already covered the point of obesity, inflammation, the change in the metabolism. Now, the next factor that I will be talking about is your nutrition imbalance. Now, definitely, I'll come to this later, but there is also another important factor which we call it as a nutritional imbalance, where I bet everyone knows about this. Everyone, because when we talk about weight loss, we only confined our thought process only into calories, right? But it's not the calories that we have to look forward to. We also have to look into the nutrients which the food is providing. I'll just highlight a very simple example which I always take in my day to day practice. That is, whenever any user or any patient says about that, no, it's the this food gives me this amount of calories and so on and so forth. So I always take an example like, say, a medium size apple and a 200 ml of cola. Now, why do I want to highlight this example is a medium size apple has more calories than that of that 200 ml cola. Yes, this is the truth. Now, now from this statement, can we say that a cola is more superior to apple? Why? Because it's low in calories or it's less in calories? Definitely not. So this is the place that we have to highlight, that it's the food is not only about the calories, the food is also about the nutrition, what type of nutrients or what type of nutrition you are getting from that food. It might happen that the food is giving you more calories, but ultimately at the end of the day, what kind of nutrition it is giving you, that is where we need to focus. So definitely if a medium sized apple has more calories than cola, it's never ever that a cola is superior to that apple, because we need to focus on the nutrition. From a cola, what do we get? We are getting nothing but the empty calories. But when it comes to an apple, definitely we are getting the fiber, we are getting the antioxidants in the form of vitamins and minerals. That is definitely essential for maintaining a overall immunity, in your body. So this is where the point lies. Now, the next important factor, which I believe is the sleep. The sleep is also something that we have seen in our users, that even a partial sleep deprivation can lead to fluctuations in your glucose levels. And not only that, it is another reason why the deprivation of sleep can even make us, it can even lead to weight gain. Now, what happens exactly here? The problem here again lies with the calories. So we are in love with the calories. Now, what happens if one is sleep deprived? What happens? It affects your hormones. Now, when we talk about hormones, I think we only confined ourselves to the hormones like the male hormones and the female hormones. But let me tell you, there are many lot of hormones that definitely plays a very important role in your body. So when you are sleep deprived, what happens is it is affecting the hormones like the hunger hormones that we call, like say for example the leptin. So there is a very little leptin at that point of time. Leptin is a kind of hormone that reduces your hunger, and automatically what happens when the leptin levels are coming down, there is an increase in the ghrelin hormones. I think the name itself says that it's a stomach growling hormone. So what happens when the ghrelin level increases, there is the time that we feel hungry, and your body senses that ha abhi mujhe bhook laga hai, mujhe kuch khana hai. So then when we take food, we are not on that conscious mind ki ha, what I'm having. It's just that whatever we get in our fingertips, we just grab it, we just have it, and then it leads to overeating, and as a result of which, you know day by day we are gaining weight, and we are even not aware of that fact. And also what happens, uh, the sleep deprivation also leads to uh, reduced secretion or reduced production of your other hormones, which is called as insulin. So it also reduces the immunity towards the insulin production as well. So that is how it is also related when we relate the sleep as well as the diabetes. And the next important thing that I want to highlight is also the emotional eating. Now, this is one of the very interesting topic, and I have listed down a few of my tips, which I always share it with my patients, and also I would like to share it in the platform itself. So, when it comes to emotional eating, so one question, I would definitely love to know, or this is what I have even seen in my practice, that our ancestors used to eat, right? Why? To survive. This was the answer. Our ancestors used to eat because they were hungry. But now, thinking about the present scenario, the entire picture has changed. Why do we eat? We eat, say, like because we are bored. We eat because we are stressed. We eat because we are frustrated. We are eating why? Because we are watching a movie. We need something in hand. So that is the reason. What happens is we just need a reason, we just need an excuse. Now, emotional eating nowadays, I find it very common, irrespective of the fact, whatever the age be, whatever the gender be. But my question is that why do we tend to eat even when we are in stress? This is the major question. Now, the reason is what happens when we are in stress, we usually tend to gorge in especially carbohydrate rich foods. And what happens is carbohydrate rich foods always has a property that it initiates your, or it stimulates your the happy hormones, or should I say the feel good hormone, that is your serotonin levels. It actually boosts your brain serotonin. So now what happens, the more carbohydrate we have, the more content we feel. And also, what happens when you are in stress, there is the release of your stress hormones called the cortisols, which, as a result of which, it leads us to craving, especially the sweet cravings, which I can definitely say. So, we need to be very mindful with what we are eating. So, first of all, I would say that when it's a question of eating, please try to identify at first that whether it's a physical hunger or it's an emotional hunger. If it is an emotional hunger, which is your craving, then let me tell you, please wait for 10 to 15 minutes. Why? Because we know that this is going to dissolve automatically. But when it triggers a physical hunger, when it's a question of physical hunger, then we need to analyze very deep that why is this triggering? Is it because of your sleep deprivation? Is it because of the stress factor? Or is it because of the nutritional deprivation which is happening? So we need to figure it out and go into depth and take the actions accordingly. Now, yes, when we talk about being active, I think exercise is again one of the most neglected part, which I feel nowadays. But I also see a majority of the people who equally pays attention to the exercise level as well. But many of us have the concept that, ma'am, we are very particular with the diet, and thoda to chalna firna to hota hi hai ghar mein, we are doing the household activities. So, but I cannot manage time for a proper workout. This is the very common statement that I at least come across when I deal with my patients. Now, let me tell you, exercise is also equally important to manage your glucose levels. Because when we are formulating a diet plan, let me tell you, there's a lot of calculations which is behind the diet plan. So it might be that, when we are calculating, the requirement of yours is completely different. But when we see, or when we look at your BMI, when we look at the need for your weight loss, even we go on a calorie deficit diet and we create that deficit. Why? Because we have to give you the results as well. Now, when it comes to a calorie deficit, it's not only about that we are bringing down the calories from your food. We are also expecting that there is an equal balance in between the energy intake and the energy expenditure. Now, if the energy intake is taken well care of, then why not the energy expenditure? So now you might ask that what is the benefit? Benefit, definitely what I say is exercise itself acts as an insulin. This is what I believe. It definitely improves your HDL levels. It helps to lower your LDL levels, as a result of which we can keep our heart fit and healthy. Not only that, it helps to boost up your energy, it helps in your mood upliftment, it helps to keep your bones strong, it helps to tone up your muscles. And always remember, the more the muscle mass in your body, the more your metabolism, the pace of metabolism is better, definitely, because muscles are metabolically more active than that of the fat. And for the individuals whom I find that the fat percentage is on a higher end, definitely 80 to 90% of the cases I see that they are heading towards a sluggish metabolism. As a result of which, what is happening, as because the metabolism is completely getting hampered, this is becoming an obstruction in their weight loss journey. So exercise is something which is very, very important. Now, if you're a kind of person, who doesn't do any kind of exercise, or maybe the basic movement that we do, I always encourage to start with something very small. Do not overdo or do not over exert yourself in one day that I will be completing 10,000 steps in one day. No, take it very slowly. If you are a person that, who are not into much of exercises, but always make it a routine that minimum half an hour of activity I will definitely keep in my routine, be it in the morning, be it in the evening, whenever you can manage. And with respect to the your blood parameters, your glucose parameters, that is your fasting levels and postprandial levels. So again, keeping a check on your fasting levels and postprandial levels, the exercise routine can also be customized, definitely. So say, like, for example, if I find that any of my users or most of the users whose postprandial levels are going on a higher end, always a post meal walking for at least 15 minutes works like a magic. And I have seen this in the CGM. When my users are in the CGM period, is a continuous monitoring glucose device that we place. And when we check the trend of the glucose levels, I allow them to experiment. Like one who is not a believer of doing the exercise, I always throw them a challenge. I always, set their routine in the form of an experiment that, please, instead of listening to me, why don't you yourself check that what is the difference that you are getting in the graph? So one day you do not do any kind of exercise post meal, and one day you just move at least for 15 minutes at a stretch and do the exercises. And there it comes that when they see that comparative study, when they see that how beautifully their glucose levels after 2 hours is slowly coming down to a normal range of, say, like 80 to 140, which is the target range that we hit. So they themselves get surprised that yes, it does work. But yes, that motivation should be there, that yes, if I'm paying much focus on the diet part, then also exercise is something that needs to be taken care of. Okay. So Shifa, I think Yes, more or less I have covered, though diabetes is something which is a very vast topic, but it's not possible to cover in one session. But I try to highlight on that factors. Now, yes, if any questions or anything that the users want to know, please, yeah, we can come up
Right.
with the questions again.
Yes, there are a couple of questions. I'll just quickly read them out to you so you can answer them. Right. So one question is, how do you maintain the BMI? How do you maintain HbA1c levels? Right. This is one question.
Okay, so when it comes to maintenance of your BMI, it's nothing but, again, as I said, it is a cumulative effect of all the lifestyle changes that we are practicing. Now, when I talk about specifically the lifestyle changes, what I have seen, what has worked for many of my users, is the first thing that we delay or we are very ignorant is with the meal timing. Number one, when it comes to a lifestyle change, the first thing, like say, for example, they do not have any particular timing, like one day I'm taking my breakfast at 10, the next day maybe I'm taking my breakfast at 8. And more than a breakfast, I think the dinner is something which definitely plays an important role when you have to manage your, again, as you said, how can you manage your HbA1c. So HbA1c is nothing but a cumulative effect of your glucose levels for the last 3 months. So this gives you an idea that how you are maintaining your glucose levels. So when I talk about the lifestyle changes, it's about the meal timing that we need to be very particular with. It's about the meal combinations, which is very, very, very important. Because what we generally do is we all, I think, in today's scenario, in today's picture, if I say or if I ask that what are the sources of carbs, what are the sources of protein, what are the sources of fiber and fat, everyone is more or less well aware of. But the main challenge that we face is maybe we are taking those in our diet, but not distributing it equally throughout my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is my main meal. And this is how we have seen that close monitoring, when we monitor in the CGM. One day, like say, for example, I'll give a very simple example. I'll just highlight my example only. So when I was on a CGM period, I just did an experiment that I was taking poha, like say, for example, for my breakfast. Now, when I took a simple poha, which is devoid of any vegetables, devoid of any protein source, I just took the poha and I saw that how my glucose levels actually spiked up. I mean, I was like, that what made such a spike to that glucose levels, irrespective of the fact that one is diabetic or non-diabetic. Then the next day, what I did is, now when I'm emphasizing on the combination very well, the next thing what I did is, the next day I added some vegetables in that poha, or I added some peanuts as a source of protein with that poha, and I could make out the difference, that how it actually impacted my glucose levels. So it's also about that whether you are taking the right combination of the macros, that is your carbs, protein, fiber, and also the other the other antioxidants in the form of your vitamins and minerals in the correct proportion or not. This is very, very important. And alongside, definitely, as I said, the other parameters like a proper sleep hygiene. Because when we talk about the sleep, it's not only the hours that we calculate, but it's also the hygiene that we look into, that what is the quality of the sleep that you are getting. Is it a disturbed sleep or is it an undisturbed sleep for like 7 to 8 hours, which also impacts your glucose levels. So I have seen patients like they are doing fantastic with their fasting and postprandial levels. They are all maintaining a very good diet regime and a physical activity regime, but only because of their irregular sleep timing and the disturbance in their sleep. I could clearly make out that what kind of fluctuations happens at night, which even they are not aware of the fact why is it happening. So the normal scenario which happens is, ma'am, we are not eating any food at night, but why is it that my glucose levels are moving up and down? So it's very true. We are, of course, in a fasting mode at that point of time, but why is it that my glucose levels are fluctuating? This is nothing but because of the sleep hygiene, the sleep quality, the stress factor, which might also affect your glucose levels to a much extent. Yes, Shifa, any questions? Yes.
Yes, there are a couple more questions. I'll just quickly read them out as well. So this is one question is, can a diabetic be on intermittent fasting? Is it something that is recommended?
Now, this is a very controversial topic. Well, when I start, or in any of the new call that I get, when I welcome when I welcome my users, this is a very common question that I find that, ma'am, can I do the intermittent fasting? Or maybe someone has tried intermittent fasting who has got really good results. Now, when we talk about the intermittent fasting, let me tell you, intermittent fasting is also about discipline, where most of us lack. Like, say, for example, when we talk about the fasting hours and the feasting hours, it's very important that we are maintaining that part or not. So, intermittent fasting, I'm not saying it's not good, but again, uh, unless and until we get a recall of what kind of lifestyle you are leading, the duration of your diabetes, any other comorbidities you are having or not, what is the lifestyle that you are following, what is a normal diet regime that you follow. So unless and until we get hold of that, it actually becomes difficult to just say that yes, you can practice intermittent fasting. But intermittent fasting has shown to give good results. But what I believe is, when it comes to fasting, why don't we start with the basic? When I talk about the basic, like, say, for example, if I want to fast for 12 hours, or if I want to fast for 14 hours, any which ways we are undergoing that fasting period every day. Now you might ask how. That is, if you adhere to a proper dinner time, like, say, for example, if I wrap up my dinner by 8, that is where the discipline comes in. If I wrap up my dinner by 8 or 7:30 or 8, automatically the next meal in the morning that I have, if I give a gap of at least 12 to 14 hours, any which ways we are undergoing a 12 or 14 hours of fasting at that point of time. So this can also be taken care of. But yes, intermittent fasting, again, it again depends on these factors before we prescribe you that yes, you are good to go with the intermittent fasting.
Got it. So there, Shreya, there's a question. Like, I think two people, Vijay Lakshmi and Ajoy, both of them are asking what fruits can we take if you have diabetes?
Fruits is something like, customization was definitely, when I used to, when I did not join Sugarfit, because Sugarfit has actually given me a different kind of experience. Let me share with you all, because the CGM part is very interesting. So even when I was practicing outside, when I did not join Sugarfit, so I also had those typical, the list of the food items that, oh, acha, आपका diabetes है, मतलब आप मैंगो नहीं खा सकते, आप बनाना नहीं खा सकते, and all those kind of starchy fruits that you cannot have. Despite of that, the low starchy or the low, the high fiber fruits, you can have that. So now when I joined Sugarfit, and when I am monitoring my patients, progress day to day, in the CGM, I could even see that any kind of fruits that we have, it will give us a spike to some extent. Now, depending on the fructose content of the fruit, which might be 19 or 20 in some fruits. Now, when it comes to diabetes, all kind of seasonal fruits is always what I encourage. But when I talk about all kind of seasonal fruits, definitely we have to check with your glucose levels. The baseline glucose levels needs to be monitored. But I can say that when it comes to, the main question that can I have a mango or can I have a banana? So I do not restrict particularly mangoes or bananas for my patients, irrespective of the fact if their baseline glucose are on a higher range. Then definitely there might be a restriction for some period of time. But I have seen that, say, for example, for an individual who goes for a workout, or who is into gym, or who is into, moderate to vigorous activity, maybe 1 hour or 1.5 hours of activity they are doing, and if their baseline levels are under control, I don't even mind if one is having a banana as their pre-workout nutrition, because at that point of time banana works really well as a pre-workout nutrition. Why? Because that is a source of your instant energy. And you also do not need to worry about the fact, why, again, as I said, if your baseline glucose levels are fine, you can easily have a banana and you can go for a workout. Why? Because during the workout, any which ways, you are working out, and as a result of which the entire food is getting well digested, and within just few hours you will see that again your glucose levels are coming down. And when it comes to mangoes, especially the mangoes, yes, being the season. So mangoes is again something which again depends on the parameters like your fasting, your postprandial levels, your average glucose levels, how it's. And maybe like two slices of mango won't do the harm. But the mistake that we do is these kind of starchy fruits, we tend to take it either along with a meal. Like say, for example, I completed my lunch and just within 15 minutes of time, I just grabbed a mango, then definitely that might spike your glucose levels, or that might increase your glycemic, uh, the overall load. The carbohydrate load of the food might definitely get increased because you are adding that starchy fruit already with a heavy meal which you have already taken. So that is not a good point to have. Rather, you can take it as a mid-morning snacks. And one tip for all of you, which even I practice in my day-to-day practice, and I have also encouraged my patients to, and I've seen good results, is whenever you are grabbing any fruit, please try to combine that with any kinds of nuts and seeds. And then you check your glucose levels after 2 hours. Why? Because we have seen this, that when we are combining any healthy fat source or any protein source added to that carbohydrate, it actually prevents you from that sharp spike which happens immediately after having a carbohydrate. That's why it's very important. Why do we emphasize that for your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, please try to combine your meals in a good proportion. And the same goes with your fruits as well. So whenever you are having a fruit, please try to combine it with any kind of nuts and seeds whenever you are having it, so that it does not give it a sharp spike, because fruits also contain fructose, which might increase your glucose levels. So be careful on that point.
Got it. Thank you so much, Aisha. I think we'll take a couple of just two more questions and we can end the session.
Yes,
So
yes.
one question is by Miss Sandhya. So she's asking, she's having hypothyroidism and she's also taking medication. So in that case, would it be difficult for her to lose weight or reduce her weight?
So in that case, what happens is when diabetes is accompanied by any other kind of comorbidities, definitely the progression time might be a bit more as compared to one who is having only, the issues with diabetes. Definitely uh, the more the number of comorbidities, the more it takes time to progress. But it's not that we'll not be able to do it. Definitely, again, thyroid also being one of the lifestyle, and we have seen that reversing the parameters of your thyroids by simple lifestyle changes. It's all about that. We can definitely have a better improvement in both your thyroid levels as well as your sugar levels as well. But yes, maybe the time progression might be a bit more as compared to the other individual with less comorbidities.
Got it. So this is one question by Mr. Bhaskar, right? So he's asking, is there any connection between emotions and diabetes, right? And in that case, which one do you control first?
So I think I did discuss about that emotions, but what I believe is when it comes to emotions, we can completely agree that we can't control the emotions right at that point of time. But when it comes to emotional eating, again, we need to emphasize on the fact that if we are grabbing something, like say for example, if something is uh, triggering out of a craving, then as I said, we need to figure it out, that is it a physical need or is it a kind of a craving which is occurring. Now, how do you understand that? So what happens is whenever I feel that craving, or maybe because of any reason, I'm having that emotional craving, so first I wait for 10 to 15 minutes and just watch that whether that's dissolving or not. Then what I do, I just take few glasses of water, maybe normal to cold water I take. And if I see that that gets dissolved, then it's a very simple trick that you believe that, okay, this was a kind of an emotional craving which went. And another thing, what I say is, another is this is a hack, I should say, that always, like if at night, sometimes, as I said, that sleep deprivation can also lead to emotional craving, or such kind of cravings at night. then always try to brush your teeth at that point of time with any kind of mint flavored toothpaste. This is also a kind of hack that I have tried, and this actually, helps to dissolve that craving. Again, the emotional craving that we are talking about. Or nahi to fir, I think that after every meal, if we have some kind of soft, if we chew some soft or those kind of stuffs, this also somewhere on the other dissolves the extreme craving at that point of time. So yes, we need to keep a check on that as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Shashi. There's one more question. Do we have time to take it up? Is it fine?
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
All right. So this is actually something which I think many people would face, right? This is by Mr. Salman. So he's Salam, sorry. So he's asking, while working, it becomes quite challenging to keep, walk post-meal walking, right? To do the post-meal walking, it becomes challenging when you're working. So is there any other way, other than this?
Yes, this is a very good question. So what I say is, like, say for example, you're having your lunch and thereafter, you do not have time to go for a walk for 15 minutes. So I believe that what we can adapt at that point of time is, like, say for example, we can just manage. If you want to call someone, like, say for example, after lunch is my time that I want to call my dad, or I want to call my mom, or if something important, we have a calling at that point of time. So I would say that do not sit at that point of time. Rather, you just walk in your space, whatever space you get. Like if it is like this much amount of space as well, just walk to and fro in order to ensure that you are in a movement state. Right after having meal, what happens if we sit down? Then again, what happens? The digestion remains incomplete, as a result of which, again, it might affect your glucose levels. So for those where you find that it's a challenge for walking at a stretch for 15 minutes, at least I would say, like, if you have a chance to climb up the stairs, or if you have a chance to, say, like, you are speaking to someone and you are just moving to and fro in that area. So yes, you can even do that. Or if nothing that it's possible, then of course you can do some kind of chair exercises as well, like sitting on a chair, doing some stretches, or at least ensuring that your body is in a motion state. That can also be done if you hardly get time to just walk for 15 minutes post your lunch or any meal that you are talking
about. Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Shesh. I think that's quite helpful for everyone on call. So again, thank you so much, Shelshi, for your time and, for just, helping us understand all about weight loss today and the effective ways to achieve it. I think we covered a lot about emotional eating and, all the root causes as well, which I think is great. So thank you so much for joining in, Shelshi. It's been really amazing to have you here. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I also just want to thank all the audience as well. Thank you so much for asking such, great questions and for your patience. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you learned something new today. Thank you so much, everyone.